Today we will be solving two-step equations. When solving a two-step equation, the goal is still to find out what x is. So we still want to get x all alone on one side of the equal sign. Instead of solving a one-step equation, because there's two steps, we have more that we have to move away from x. For example, we'll have to move this plus 3 away from x and this times 2. We will have two steps to undo. That's why it's called a two-step equation. On example 1, I'm actually going to go in the reverse order of PEMDAS. So usually we would do multiply and divide first, and then add and subtract. When we're undoing a problem in algebra, we undo add and subtract first. So first I will remove positive 3 from this side of the equation by subtracting it from both sides. A positive 3 and a negative 3 equals 0, so we will cross them out. 5 minus 3 equals 2. We bring down our 2x because we have not used it yet. Now we have 2x equals 2. We still have not gotten x alone, so we have to now undo the multiplication between 2 times x. Since the opposite of multiplying is dividing, I will divide by 2. I have to do this to both sides. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now I'm left with just x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So in the end, my answer is x equals 1. And I know I'm correct because I can substitute 1 in for x, and I should find that my equation is correct. So let me check. 2 times 1 plus 3 equals 5. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 3 equals 5. That is a true statement, so I know my answer checks out, and I am correct. Let's try example 2 just to make sure you understand. I have 4x minus 7 equals 9. The first thing I'm going to do is move this minus 7. The opposite of subtracting 7 is adding 7, so that's what I will do. I do this to both sides because we always have to balance the equation. Minus 7 and plus 7 equals 0, so they cancel out. Now I'm left with 4x equals 9 plus 7. 9 plus 7 is 16. Now I have 4 times x, a number I don't know, equals 16. To undo the multiplication, I can divide by 4. Four divided by 4 is 1 and leaves only x all by itself. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So my answer is x equals 4. I can check this by putting 4 back in for x. So I will check 4 times 4 minus 7 to see if it equals 9. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 7 equals 9. Since that is true, My answer checks out, and I know I am correct. I will now go on to slide 2, where you will have some practice problems to solve. Now you should pause the video and do these 3 practice problems in your notebook, numbers 1, 2, and 3. Now that you've done those practice problems, we will try a couple more practice problems. These are still 2-step equations, but these equations have division in them. Notice the x is divided by 2 and the n is divided by 3 instead of multiplied like the other equations. Sometimes we struggle with division, so I thought we should go over these separately. We're still going to use the same steps as before, and we're still going to undo the addition and subtraction part first, and then undo the multiplication, or in this case, division. Let's try the first practice problem. We will first do the opposite of add 4, which is subtract 4, from both sides. Plus 4 and negative 4 cancel to 0. We're left with x divided by 2. Equaling 16 minus 4 is 12. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. Two and 2 cross cancel out to 1, so I'm left with x. 12 times 2 is 24. So my answer is x equals 24. If I check and put this back in for x, I would have 24 divided by 2 is 12 plus 4 equals 16, and I would know that it was the correct answer. Let's try example 2. Instead of subtracting 8, the opposite will be to add 8 to both sides. A negative 8 and a positive 8 cancel to 0, and I'm left with n divided by 3. Equaling 13 plus 8, which is 21. The opposite of divided by 3 is to multiply by 3. The 3's cancel to 1, and I multiply by 3 on this side, and I'm left with n equals 21 times 3. 21 times 3, which is 63. I can check that I'm right by putting in 63 divided by 3, finding out that it's 21 minus 8 equals 13, and I know I am correct. Now move on to the next slide, and we'll have you pause the video here to do these practice problems in your notebook. Once you finish these practice problems, you've finished your notes for this lesson. You can go back to following the steps on the smartboard for the directions of what to do next. If you are stuck or confused at this point, now would be a good time to raise your hand and ask a question.